It was both dream and reality.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of the disaster.
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the Opera House? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an appearance here. That whale does not belong to Teyvat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping all the while. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main cause for the rising sea levels. And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea, its next step will be...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontainians out of Oceanids, she filled their blood vessels with primordial seawater.
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontainians nigh impossible to resist. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the form of Fontainians.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the people again once it's managed to recover its strength?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely come onto land far sooner. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out like this. Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy, all we need to do to stop the prophecy would be to find a way to beat it up, right?
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, it has become practically integrated with the sea itself. Even if the entirety of Teyvat were to be destroyed, it could still survive and swim off towards some other world.
That's not something I will accept. We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true culprit. We've come so far. You can't just tell me that the last hurdle is some impossible foe. That's just not fair.
Indeed, That's not how a grand performance should end.
I'll fight it to the end. No matter what.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could things be happening in hidden corners where the gods' gaze does not fall? Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Tevat's future. All you need to do is to play your part.
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina! No, I still need answers.
You...
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help myself.
You are not Farina. Who are you?
The sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor? Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly principles?
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria for the uninitiated. It hardly gets more disastrous than a preordained national catastrophe, now does it? She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized there was only one possible solution to this confounding conundrum. I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least, while saving everyone at the same time. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of the Hydro Archon, and not to mention the original sin of creating a new race of humans, I dare say she left me quite a colossal mess to clean up. But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiars.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand.
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. In my eyes, to be human is to be part of the greatest opera ever known. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Farina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person I always wanted to be. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principles. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? The Hydra Archon alone, weeping on her throne. In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be an actress, to play the part of the Hydro Archon in the prophecy. Under the curse I placed on her, so long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part of the god from the prophecy, all to create a deceitful appearance of that prophecy coming to pass. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Farina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure. It must have been torture for her.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology for it. It's been 500 years, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera of all time. So, who permitted you to come onto this stage? Now, I understand your admiration for my august self, but I must ask you to keep to the rules.